Podeki. 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 This is Podeki. Hey guys, my name is Adel, and welcome to Vlogdeki. I haven't done any type of podcasting in a few years, and due to the coronavirus quarantine, bunkered down here in my home, so I figured that with all this free time, I could get back into doing things like that. So this will be the first episode of Vlogdeki Quarantine Edition. My first guest is a musician who has created an indie folk art rock project called Phavors, and that is Phavors spelled with a PH. Their debut EP will be released very soon. In our discussion, we talk about how Phavors was formed, the main influence and inspiration behind the music, and also current music being released today. My first guest is Phil Marflak. Okay. How's it going, Phil?
Hey, man. What's going on?
Good. How's the quarantine treating you so far?
So far, dude, it's good. Chilling with Brandon and Justin, working on the new Phavors stuff. And, we're mastering that now. It should be done in a few days. And doing some other Phavors stuff too, and teaching, doing some virtual lessons online. And yeah.
So it sounds like you've been pretty busy during this whole quarantine.
Yeah, playing a lot of Animal Crossing too.
But, of course, yeah. Got to take some of that fun with it too.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. How has that transition to online classes been so far for that?
So the teaching thing online has been it's been really good actually. Like we've made I've kept a lot of my students, the vast majority of them. However, I did take a hit 1 week, no pay, and group classes are suspended for now, which sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hanging in there. I'm making like just about enough to coast through this, but not as much as I would like to stay comfortable. But other than that, the teaching itself has been fun. It's been easy, especially from home. I guess I was worried about it at first. I thought at first teaching over virtual lessons would be harder to communicate or get things done, but it's not the case at all so far. It's been great. It's been super productive.
I see. So, that's good to know. So it's basically like as if, say, your student goes online and goes and takes one of those tutorials you see from these companies that give virtual lessons. So it's practically just like that, which is good. Yeah. Which is good though. It's like you get to still teach them and everything.
Yeah, it's awesome, dude. I think it's great.
That's cool. So let's talk about Phavors. What is Phavors?
Phavors, dude. So Phavors, it's a music project I do with Kayla DeRosa. Basically, right now we're just a duo, but we have full productions. We're a lot of post rock, art rock, some indie folk and the newer stuff coming out. Even a hair of shoegaze in the newer stuff. Just a little bit of that. Really droney, ambient, yet dynamic rock. It's not like ambient music where it's just like wide open noise. It's more of there's still song structure, melody, vocals, things like that. Kayla sings the majority of the music. She's great. She has such a beautiful voice. She's great to work with. We released a single in late February, and I think it did very well. For a first single, I was really happy with it.
Yeah.
And now we have this music blog called Poetry Dance LaRue is premiering our upcoming video. We have like a live video coming out.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Our new song Petals, we did it live. Our friend Tennessee filmed it at Homedale Park.
Yes,
which was nice.
Yes, that's right.
Beautiful day, beautiful video. Tennessee did a great job. And
shout out Tennessee.
Yeah, that's kind of what's going on right now. lately I've been staying up super late, like stupid late, like 6
What
a.m.
hours are
almost.
we
Like,
talking about here? Super late wise.
yeah,
Sick.
dude. Yeah, I know you've been staying up pretty late too,
Yeah,
right?
I feel you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of on the same boat in a way. So late in the morning, wake up early to mid afternoonish kind of time. Yeah.
Dude, me too. It's like it's so lame, but it's like it works right now.
Yeah.
It works for my lifestyle, and like for working on favors, it's nice because everyone's in bed, so I'm not tempted to just like hang out with my cousins like Justin and Brandon or like mess around too much. It's more like, all right,
Mhm.
everyone sleep, I can master this stuff, and mastering has been taking a while.
Yeah.
Um, well, actually, it's just mixing in general. So basically, mastering, I think it'd be done in a day or two. I'm really close to finishing.
Oh, really?
It,
So it's
uh,
really like they're like 97% ish. If it's all right there, right?
exactly.
Yeah, very close to the finish line right there.
Yeah, man. Because the moment it's mastered, I send it out, and then I think it'll be like a month before it hits the streaming
The
services. So
distribution services and everything, right? Yeah.
yeah, so
Okay.
it's
All
looking
right.
like around a month from now, our EP called the Pedals EP will release.
Pedals EP. Okay. How many tracks do you see is going to be on the EP?
Four. We got four coming
Four
up. Yeah,
tracks. Okay.
there's going to be three. So what happened was there were only going to be three tracks. One of them is Pedals that was already released, but
Yeah.
because of the quarantine, I thought I'd get more work done, but I was actually procrastinating like crazy because I was just getting so lazy and I was playing so much Animal Crossing.
Oh.
At first, it
Yeah.
felt like a bad thing, but what happened was
Yeah.
I procrastinated so much that I started to make other music, and then I wrote a fourth song that is now being featured on the EP, which wasn't supposed to, like, if I was not procrastinating, the
Yeah.
EP would been sent out by now and it would only have three songs. So actually
I
I'm kind of
see.
happy I procrastinated. And it's cool because Kayla did some iPhone vocals. Because she's quarantined too,
Yeah. Of
so she
course.
sang right into her phone and sent it to me, and I put it in and added all these cool things to it. So I'm actually really excited about it. I showed Brandon, Tennessee, they love it. They say it's their favorite track on the EP,
That's
which
good
makes
to
me feel
hear. That's
good.
good to hear.
Uh,
So you
and
could
I'll
say that procrastination actually benefited you in this time, in a sense. So
this
yeah.
time, yeah. Like obviously not most of the time, but this time it worked out really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you wouldn't have had a fourth track added to this EP if it weren't
yeah,
for Animal Crossing amongst things. So
exactly, dude. Yeah, and I put like over 100 hours in Animal Crossing, and it came out on March 20th. And what's today? April 15th.
oh my gosh, that's like
25 days.
almost a month into having Animal Crossing, and you have 100 hours already into it. That is
Dude,
wild.
I'm like kind of proud of it,
That's
but also,
basically more than a work week, really.
oh, dude, yeah,
100 hours in.
you're right,
Yeah.
dude. It's like if Animal Crossing was
Yeah.
almost Animal Crossing was like a part-time job for me.
Yeah.
That's really what it equates to. Wow, that's sick.
That's
I
crazy.
love that. But other than that, I think once the EP's released, we're just gonna chill, work on marketing, pushing it out there, connecting with people, fans, and blogs and radio stations, and just trying to really spread the word more. And also, I'm sure we'll write new music too.
Of course, yeah. So, how did Favors come about? How did it start?
Good question. So, favors. I graduated from Berkeley College of Music, their online degree. I graduated in December 2019. What happened was to graduate, to finish, you had to record an EP, and the professor said it could be someone else's EP or your own EP. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm doing my own EP because I've been wanting to put out music forever. I've always been writing stuff. I just never got around to recording it. I was like, that's it. I'm doing this. Like, this is my reason to do it. And Kayla, I used to teach her guitar years ago, and I always stay in touch with her and her family. They're really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I knew Kayla always had, because she attends the music academy that I teach at. So I taught her guitar, but she also took vocal lessons. So I would see her perform at our events, and I always thought she had like an incredible voice. And with the favors thing, I knew that I couldn't sing all the songs. I wanted a female vocalist. I love female vocals,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the kind of music we're making. And I had a few people I kept in mind of who I wanted to record, but it came down to Kayla ultimately because I thought she had the most unique voice, and I just personally loved her voice more than the others.
I see. All right. Okay.
And
So her
but you know,
voice
I mean,
basically fitted what you were going for in terms of sound and production wise. Yeah.
exactly, dude, and that exactly because that's what it was all about. It was about the vision, you know. It was like, okay, like this is the sound I want. You know, of course you can. I mean, you could hire any great singer or great musician, but it's about getting that certain characteristic, that flavor almost of like a vocalist, you know. And Kayla just has a really her voice is great. I just love everything about her voice. How she pronounces words, her breaths, you know, at the ends of words. I mean, it was just, it's so
Mm-hmm.
specific, but it really
Yeah.
does matter. And when I recorded her for the song Petals, it was like our trial kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
with her beforehand to record her on my iPhone just to you know, to fuck around and make it, you know, so she knew what the song was. But when I recorded her, it was like better than I imagined. I was thrilled and I just felt good. I was like, good, I made a good choice. And she's so much fun to work with. She's so chill. And but so yeah, that's what happened. I had to do the project, and I was like, you know, let me ask Kayla because she's a really good singer, and yeah, she was so down to do it. It was easy, and she was cool because working with her was great because you know this project was you know it helped me like take the next serious step in recording. So for those listening who are recording artists or musicians, um, it's easy for us at first to record and half-ass the vocals or to just lay down a take or two and be like, it's good enough, you know, it's fine. And then we'll spend hours on the guitar track or hours on the drums and this and that. So this was a good chance for me to be like, no, fuck it, I'm doing this right. And me and Kayla did the vocals for Petals that alone. I think it was like a 4 or 5 hour day. I mean, we just worked so hard on it and re-sang words and lines to make it sound right. And it came out to be beautiful, in my opinion. I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
when she sang it.
That's true. Yeah.
And
The
that was cool.
vocals are basically an instrument. So if you
Yeah,
spend
exactly.
you spend so much time perfecting like all other instruments and layers and things, it's even while you're explaining like even the working on the dictation, the way you pronounce some words, just to fine tune it to make it right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And it's an art, you know? So, and Kayla, you know, knows way more about it than I do because she's a trained vocalist. So that made a big difference too, to work with someone who's like super like trained in vocals. It was just like, oh, it was mind blowing, you know? Like if she encountered a problem, she would like, I'd see her like brainstorm in her head, like, how can I fix this? She's like, okay, I know what to do. And she'd do some weird tech. I don't even know what it is. Maybe it's a throat thing, a breathing thing, whatever it was,
Yeah. Yeah.
nail it. You know, it was so cool working with her. But that was sick because not only is Petals and this EP my first thing I'm putting out, which I'm really happy and proud of,
Huh.
but it's like a defining moment for me where it's like this is where I'm finally starting to take the next steps to really just take music super seriously and to you know, attention to detail and attention and detail to the process and love of the process and stuff. So it feels great. It's really fun.
Yeah. Totally. Of course. What influences did you listen to or taken from to help create the music for this project?
So like I have a lot of influences, but specifically for this EP, a lot of the songs are influenced mainly by Sigur Rós, one of my
Mm-hmm.
favorite bands.
Yes. Yeah.
Chelsea and Alex, which is the singer Sigur Rós's side project
Uh huh.
with a partner. They wrote an album, which is my favorite album ever. It's called Rice Boy Sleeps. It's entirely instrumental, but it's beautiful. That was a huge inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Bon Iver is a huge inspiration as
Of
well.
course. Yeah.
Um, the last song on the EP is inspired, by a lot. But I would say Radiohead. It's
Radiohead.
inspired
Yeah. Okay.
in
Yeah.
a lot of ways. You know, it might not be obvious when you listen to it, but to me, I've connected with Radiohead and some of their deep cut songs, like motion picture soundtrack.
Uh huh.
Because you know, Radiohead's
Yeah.
cool because they're so good at like crazy intricate rock
Of
music and stuff.
course. Yeah.
They also
Yeah.
have those like beautiful, sweet songs at like the end of their albums or just hidden in there somewhere, you know.
Yeah. That's right.
And it's so nice, and that's what's cool because all these artists have a lot in common that they're also good at making calming, beautiful yet dynamic music, that's just really friendly to the ears and stuff. And I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely got those kind of, vibes from listening to Petals alone, like the Sigur Roses, the Radioheads, Bon Iver's, like the very, kind of experimental art rock, post rock folk kind of inspirations
Yeah,
from that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, dude. And that's the
Yeah.
thing. I love, folk music is great. And I write folk songs sometimes.
Yeah.
And there's some folkiness about this stuff, but I also love how I love Bon Iver's version of folk, where it's like dream folk or whatever, or indie folk, whatever you want to call it, where
Yeah. Uh-huh.
it's experimental, right?
Experimental
And
to
you
say the
experimental,
least. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that because the warmth of the acoustic guitar is just so precious. And then but it's also so inviting you could collaborate with so many other sounds. And Bon Iver nailed it. That's it. When he released, like when I first discovered him, I was blown away. I was like, damn, this is some serious cool shit. And it's the same thing with Sigur Rós and Radiohead. It's like no one's really doing these things,
Yeah.
Awesome. Or if they are doing, I haven't found them yet. Of course, there's some people you can hear, they're inspired by this and this, but those guys always stuck out to me. They're always just so good.
Of course.
Um,
Yeah. Let's talk about Petals. What drove you to make a song like Petals?
Pedals. Um,
Because there's a lot of flower imagery and like
yeah,
talks about that. In the lyrics they mention about petals falling, basically picking up flowers, letting the petals fall. There's things about growth and rebirth. Is there any way you could expand on those lyrics and what they mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
So without giving it away, because I don't want to give this song meaning away entirely, but so for it was the song. I mean, the song was really inspired. I was reading a lot of like Robert Frost poetry at the time.
Uh huh.
He's so good at. I mean, it's so basic, but he's a really good poet, and he's so good at imagery and relating nature, things we view in nature, to just real life and emotions. And at the time, I was also meditating a lot, so I was feeling much more of like my inner nature child hippie come out kind of thing.
I see. Okay. All right.
Frost poetry was perfect for that.
Like
And
transcendentalism and
yeah, so
those kind of things. Yeah.
so exactly, and so basically, I forget what I mean. It's not like any of his specific poems um, inspired it, but it was more of his short poems that inspired it. He had shorter poems, like some of his poems are really long,
Mm-hmm.
but shorter poems I love because in just a few lines he could really tell a lot. And with Petals, I took I haven't really written lyrics like that before, but I was experiencing something going on in my life, and the lyrics they just kind of poured out of me, and it was in that kind of Robert Frost style, and I wrote it all in one night. Actually, I was literally on the toilet. I was taking a shit.
Hey, you never know where inspiration comes. You could be
Exactly,
taking a
dude.
shower, just think about something, just pops in your
Yeah,
mind. I mean, that's where I get a lot of inspiration stuff too. Like sometimes I'll just be in the shower, and then just I think randomly of some random melody or lyric or something. I'm like, let me go write this down real quick, or something like that. When I'm done with my shower, at least. But it's good to
yeah,
know that okay, you were just on the toilet, you were doing your
yeah.
business, and then it just comes to you, basically.
I mean, exactly. Yeah, I'm a human being. I
Yeah.
was taking a shit, just being a person, and I was going through some stuff, and I wrote this song about something specific. But I want to be like, kind of like not vague, but like, if you read the lyrics enough, I think you can understand like what the idea of it is, and to
Mm-hmm.
expand on it, um, it's just basically about love and the not so pretty side of it,
Yeah.
and admitting truths, admitting things that might be hard to admit, things we might not realize we have to admit, but things that we should admit. And that's like what the last few lines are. Because I say, I wish the wind would blow those petals away, but then I say, I'll keep just one and look at it someday. So it's like, I want to get rid of this stuff, but I kind of want to hold on to it too. It's
Kind of
just,
like leaves a little reminder for you in a sense, like
yeah, and
reminds you of some time. Yeah.
however you relate or interpret it
Yeah.
is is always welcome.
I
And
see. Okay.
when I
Yeah.
finished writing the song, I just started crying. Like, so I was literally on the toilet, crying my eyes out. And and I was like, oh man. And that's actually, I wrote that song and I loved it. And I was like, I was gonna sing that song, but I was like, no man, I love this song too much. I was like, Kayla needs to sing this whole song because she would do a way better job than me. I was totally right. She nailed it, and I was so happy with her and how and what she's done with it.
Yeah, it's good to hear, man. You did mention something about earlier how the influences for the project, like say Radiohead, Sigur Rós, Bon Iver, like in their projects, they would like leave these very like silent, kind of like very intimate um, moments in songs, like near the end of those albums. Would you say that's a driver in your sound as you expand on your sound to have those moments in there too?
Yeah, man. I love that you're catching on to that because, yeah, that's some of my favorite shit in music. The whole like the last song in the album, like those. It's like that post rock world where like those last songs usually like the best, or like in my opinion, like they might not be the most upbeat or like happy feely songs, but that was never my favorite kind of music anyway. I mean, I definitely love that kind of music
Yeah.
still. I always loved the shit that was super like just like it's usually experimental in some way. It's really emotional. It's usually really beautiful sounding, and it's not all that typical of a song structure or arrangement. I mean, look at Coldplay, right? You love Coldplay.
Yeah,
Um,
I do. Yeah.
Death and All His
Hmm.
Friends, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That song is amazing, and especially coming from Coldplay.
Yeah.
Uh, but how they end that song, the outro of that song, it's just this like ambient
Instrumental,
atmosphere,
yeah, exactly.
and I love that, dude. And that violin is so minimalist, and that was when I first started to love minimalist music like that, minimalistic music. Because I was like, the violin's not doing anything crazy, but I love it more than if it was gonna do some impressive music fucking thing.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So, and I noticed like a lot of bands have those last songs and albums, and also that there's been like Sigur Rós where like their whole album sounds like
Yeah,
that.
sound. Yeah.
Like every now and then Sigur Rós has like a banger for sure, but most of their stuff is like, it's about
Very, yeah.
putting the song on, sitting and listening to it.
Yeah, just like very like focused and focusing on the music and how it fits like the mood and atmosphere basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the
The
thing.
whole intimacy of it, yeah.
It creates a mood that's like it's kind of not like a blank canvas, but it'll. I guess what I want to say is that it's kind of hard to put into words. Like this like that kind of music, it clearly has a direction of what kind of mood it wants to set.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of open enough where you can make your own piece with it. But what's cool about the Sigur Rós side and the deep cut side of music that I like is that it's much more vulnerable. It's kind of in welcoming you, in my opinion at least. It kind of welcomes you to like feel more and to explore.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of Phavors. I want that to be a huge part of Phavors where the music is like, I just want it to be inviting and comforting, but also like, hey man, you should think about stuff. But yeah.
All right, next topic then.
Cool.
So, a mutual band that we enjoy are the Strokes.
Yeah, dude.
Okay,
yeah.
so we've seen the Strokes before and everything together. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And now recently, a week ago, they released their new album, the first one in 7 years.
So
7 years.
Yeah.
7 years.
What is that, man? It's sick.
Yeah.
It was also 7. I think it was 7, maybe 6. 6 or 7 years since the last Animal Crossing game too. Animal Crossing is my favorite video game of all time, and the Strokes are probably my top 5 favorite bands of all time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was waiting so fucking long for this album to come out, and I was in disbelief it was even coming out, and then they just released a single, and it was like, oh shit, what?
Yeah, this is serious. This is happening.
Album April 10th. I was like, what, dude? It's crazy. because I knew they always said they had new stuff, and my first Strokes concert was with you
Yeah.
at Governor's Ball. That was a
Yeah. Yeah.
sick time. They killed it, and then I saw them in L.A. because I was like selected to go kind of thing. I mean, I had to buy
Selected.
the ticket because it was
That's
for a
crazy.
charity,
Yeah.
but basically it was a small event, a
Uh-huh.
charity event. The
Yeah. Yeah.
Strokes were like, you have to enter a raffle to see if you're allowed to buy a ticket. It
I
was like
see.
at the Wiltern Theater in downtown LA,
Uh-huh.
and that's to LA, and it was one of the best weeks of my life. But yeah, I went to see them, and they played a new song. I was like, wait, what? A new song? But they were so secretive about what was going on and stuff.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, they were really fucking recording an album with Rick Rubin. You know, it
Yeah, it's
was like
crazy. Yeah.
legit. Yeah.
I mean, I did see actually the Rick Rubin documentary or
Um.
docu-series they had, and they would showcase like different musicians and clips like in each episode, and Julian Casablancas was one of them.
Oh
So
yeah, like a
I was
sneak peek.
thinking like, is he working on Stroke stuff? Is it Void's stuff
Yeah,
too? But it all makes sense now because Rick Rubin is the producer of the new Abnormal.
dude.
So
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, what a great. I mean, I thought the album was great. Like, I love it. I really do love it.
yeah,
A lot of times I find the songs are stuck in my head. Um, and yeah, even and I think the songs in the album I thought the singles they released were good.
uh huh,
I
yeah,
like them, but I don't think they're the best on the album. So that was really cool.
uh
Because
huh,
some
yeah.
bands release their single as their best song just to reel people in. But in my opinion, I don't think I think their best work is on the album for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I know when they dropped the singles too, like Bad Decisions sounded very, like very old, like old Strokes in a way, like
Yeah,
the back
yeah,
to basics kind of sound that they were known for. But yeah, I could
exactly.
agree too that, there are other songs on there that are so great that it kind of like washes away the singles basically. Yeah.
Totally, man. And and it's like so bad decisions, right? I mean, we could every single song is a whole different sound almost. I mean, it's so
Yeah.
sick.
I could agree with
Bad
that. Yeah.
decisions is like the Strokes. I know Julian. It's like he clearly has a lot of influence. And maybe the whole Strokes do too, but
Yeah.
of 80s rock.
Mhm. Yeah.
They love that kind of shit, and that's what's so cool about Bad Decisions. I mean, they credited Billy Idol.
Yeah, because it really has like the same melody of like dancing with myself, and
Exactly. Yeah.
it sounded like a lot of like new wave '80s stuff you
Yeah.
hear. Like it sounded also to me when I first heard that song, like "Melt with You." You know that song? Like I stop the world and melt with you. Like the whole like guitar riff and even melody is like
Great music,
similar to
man.
that. I'm like,
Great
this is a whole
song.
'80s wave right here. So
Yeah, and
yeah, so
and I think the 80s are coming back in a lot of ways now.
uh-huh. Like in music
And
in general, of course, yeah. The whole synths and new wave sound,
totally,
electronic 808 drums, all those things,
yeah,
yeah.
and it's sick. I mean, I think it's like because they're not just totally ripping off the 80s, so to speak. They're just kind of like they're just taking the good stuff from it. And Bad Decisions is like it's just that classic. Like, I mean, the chorus is like such an 80s
Feel.
rock
Yeah,
thing,
exactly.
and like the post chorus or the bridge, whatever you want to call it,
Hmm.
is like pretty classic Strokes.
Yeah, just like the whole guitar breakdown, like and stuff like that.
Yeah, like it's a little more hard rock and
Yeah,
stuff. But yeah, I thought Bad Decisions. I think it's a pretty good song.
yeah, yeah.
I liked it, and the other single they had was At the
At
Door,
the
right?
Door, which
That was
is
a really good song.
yeah, very 80s sounding too with the synths and the
Right, there's
keyboards.
an
Yeah.
80s synth, but they kept that like. It reminds me of what's that song? What Strokes album? Is it
What or
Angles?
Come Down Machine? Because I
No,
felt
the one
like
on Angles. It's like do 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 do. It's like I've got nothing to
no,
say.
wait, that's from
Is that
First
First Impressions of
Impressions of
Earth?
Earth. That was Ask Me Anything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, like that. So
yeah.
at the door
With
reminds
the
me of
whole
that
like
because
keyboard, I
it's
think it was
just
like a
like synth.
Mellotron or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's just like synth or keys or whatever,
yeah.
and
Very
just
stripped back, kind of like that. Yeah,
it's. I think it's. I love it. I love when the Strokes do that. I love that they were. I mean, their first songs were just like garage rock, lo-fi garage rock.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I love that they went in that direction of like let's take the drums out of the song. Let's just do synth and vocals.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then of course, Come Down Machine had like what's that last song on that album? That was a great song. Call It Fate, Call It Karma.
Yeah, yeah. It was like
Right?
very strip. It was like
That's
sounded
so,
very like retro-ish, like even like 60s kind of
yeah,
50s jazz
it's
kind of thing.
it's
Yeah.
like some weird bossa jazz or something. Like I don't know how I
Bossa
would
Nova
describe it,
kind of
but
thing.
it
Yeah. It sounded like
was
as if they were playing the whole song out of like a record player or something, like those big like the
exact,
old school record players with like the big horn like coming
yeah,
out of it and speaker thing. Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely this whole album was very, 80s sounding. It just kind of shows like the progression they make and adapting, say in a sense, for like what rock music really sounds like today. Just very, you know, not
Exactly.
your traditional just, guitars, bass, drums, like rock kind of traditional rock kind of sound. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and that's the thing, man, because I feel the same way too. Like I think they're adapting very well.
Yeah.
But I've seen other people say things like, "Oh, after 7 years, I thought it would be like, I thought they would be make something a little more daring." And I'm like, dude, okay, hold on. First of all, so many Strokes fans hate when the Strokes do anything different than like guitar, bass, and drums, right?
Uh-huh.
Like they hate Strokes try to progress. And now some of them are saying, "Oh, they should have went crazier." Like, dude, first of all, the songs are great, and some songs like "Eternal Summer," I think they went really crazy on that song. Like, that is
Yeah,
like
it
one
was
of the weirdest songs they've ever made. I think it's
very
a
like
great that song.
daring for them even.
It's super dare. It's got like a Pink Floyd, The Wall, Roger Waters chorus kind of sound. Like it's just
Yeah.
so cool. And then like the verse is almost like Tame Impala, and then
Yeah.
like the chorus is like Pink Floyd. I don't know, it's just such a dope song, and like
Yeah.
I was just surprised because most of the Strokes fan base I saw like on Reddit and stuff, they love the new album.
Uh-huh.
And Pitchfork hates it, of course, because Pitchfork is stupid.
True
Uh,
facts.
but other people will say like, oh, they should have done more. I don't see how they could have. I mean, it's a really polished album. It's written very well. It's produced very well.
Mhm.
It's a great. It's just a solid idea. It makes sense as an album. I don't know. I thought they nailed it. I really think they truly nailed it for what it is.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. I feel like this is also like maybe one of their best albums they actually put out. I mean, I'll say
Dude,
that
totally.
probably like top 4 or something.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree because I think it's so hard because it's almost like it's a totally different band at this point.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
comparing this album to their first album, it's like, oh, dude, these are two different bands. But I
Exactly,
think
yeah.
this one, I love Come Down Machine. I think Come Down Machine's great, but I think this one's better than Come Down Machine for sure.
Yeah, I could say it's definitely better than that Come Down Machine. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like you could divide like the Strokes into two different like eras in a way. It's like pre-Angles and post-Angles basically, because that's like
Exactly. Yeah.
Angles was the one where they really started experimenting more with different like sounds and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, because that was the one that started like more like the 80s kind of sounding with the keyboards and synths and all that. The experimentation was
Yeah.
different. Yeah. So
And Angles is a really good album, and I think the fans like Angles, right? Like, Angles went over pretty well with the fans, I think.
yeah, I could even say that Angles, even when I first listened to that album, I think it was 2011 is when it was released. Like I enjoyed it actually, and some of my favorite stuff by them is on that album
Dude,
too.
yeah,
Yeah,
some of their
so
best stuff is on that album. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It had like Undercover Darkness, Machu Picchu, Taken for a Fool, Life is Simple in the
I
Moonlight.
love that song. That's such a great song.
I think there's that one track, Gratisfaction.
Oh yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
one. That's a good song, yeah.
yeah. Looking back at a record like that now, if they released that album today, it would sound like rock music of today, basically very experimental and
Yeah, that's
like
the
that.
thing.
Yeah,
That album, like, I never thought like that, but you're kind of right. That album could fit in today too.
exactly.
Like
Yeah,
that's kind of on par with like a 1975 like the band,
1975 kind of thing, yeah, or even a Tame Impala kind of sound, even,
Yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah, because they used some sense. It was
yeah,
spacious. It was daring. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I would say like that album was definitely like ahead of its time in a way.
Totally.
Yeah,
I think Angles
yeah.
was ahead of its time. Come Down Machine was way ahead of its time,
Mhm.
and then the New Abnormal was like
In
in
its
its
in its time, yeah, basically, yeah.
and that's
But
really cool. I'm glad to see they did that.
oh yeah, definitely, it's definitely a good one. Right. I think we're actually good now.
Yeah, cool,
Yeah,
man.
exactly. Any last things you want to wrap up with and plug?
Uh, wait, what'd you say? Plug?
Plug, yeah. Like
Yeah,
anything you want to
actually,
plug
so
in, like promotion wise?
hell yeah, I would say for those who are interested, Favors Music. That's us. Favors is spelled with a PH, by the way. That's super crucial.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so any social media, we are at Favors Music. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Follow us on there. We're on Spotify. Give us a follow. Listen to us. Um, and yeah, new EP coming out in about a month or so.
A
New
month,
video
all
coming
right.
out soon.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, reach out if you want to get to know us, or if you want to hear some new stuff, let me know.
All right, sounds good. We'll definitely keep a lookout for favors to drop. Thank you so much, Full, for joining in on this inaugural Podeki, Vlogdeki, quarantine edition.
Podeki. Yeah, I love that. That's sick. That's what you should call this.
Yeah, definitely. But
Podeki, Vladeki. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, thanks for having me, man. This
No
was sick.
problem. All right. Take
Yeah,
care.
cool, man. You too.
This is Podeki.